Incoming transmission.
Transmission verified. Greetings. We welcome you on behalf of the Galactic Federation.
Report 6, GFHS Unit 2, Taylor BLN, documenting the planetary object previously identified as SR388. Close to a supermassive black hole, nearby the planet Zebes before its destruction, orbits a solar system that is down on record simply as SR388's solar system. The system is not found on many galactic charts for one reason or another, though it is likely because of how remote it is. It wasn't until 2075 that the system was discovered by the Space Pirates and the Galactic Federation. Though due to the remains of the ancient ruins down on the surface of one world, the Chozo had lived on it long before anyone else even knew the entire system existed. SR388, the system's namesake. I've compiled this log to analyze and break down the studies of the planet, using findings from our scientific research and documents obtained from the rogue Samus Aran before its unjust destruction at her hand. According to the footage from Samus Aran, her gunship monitor marked the coordinates to the planet down to 371 01202. SR388, if my records are correct, was first discovered by the Galactic Federation by the Planet Reclamation Division, roughly a cycle before the Phazon Crisis. From orbit, the planet SR388 looked like it was a gas giant thanks to the sickly storms that covered the entire atmosphere, with 3 titanic hurricanes moving across the surface in unison. It was a surprise to everyone that the world that looked like a type of hell could harbour any life, let alone life that was diverse and nothing like anything we'd seen before. The PRD reported that 80% of the planet's natural wildlife was extinct and complained that they'd been sent to a dead planet. Heavens know what type of strange creatures we missed before then. We soon lost communications with the team after that report, but more on that later. The atmosphere of SR388 was presumably toxic. When the skies are green and there are carnivorous flora and fauna at every turn, you would have to be insane to not wear some type of respiratory assisting equipment at the very least, not to mention a weapon or two. Upon touchdown, you would encounter a barren, rocky and dry surface that featured some fauna, mushrooms, ferns and other weird-looking plants. Underground there were complex caverns and in certain areas the ruins of the long-forgotten Chozo, another log to come. The rough terrain was formed this way likely due to the frequent earthquakes that occurred, as if 3 continent-sized hurricanes weren't enough to deal with. Due to the surface of SR388 being so hazardous, the vast majority of the flora and fauna made their homes in the vast maze-like tunnels beneath the planet's surface, only returning above ground to find food. The underground of SR388, in comparison to the surface, was a completely different world. The life there was diverse, fresh water flowed, giants roamed the caverns and bugs were hidden in every nook and cranny. Creatures such as hornodes, gulags, motos and more were common in many areas of the planet. Many even appeared in various forms, giving the creatures different properties, means of attack and defense. The environments were different wherever you turned. In one sector were the ruins of the Chozo. Then nearby was an entire water cleansing factory, and further in was a chasm of blinding yet dazzling crystals that would stand several meters high. When I saw the footage, I was surprised that Samus barely reacted to these places. But then I remembered she's probably seen places like this countless times, so she might be bored of all that by now. Speaking of which, I'll explain why Samus was even sent to that hellhole in the first place. Going back to the Planet Reclamation Division, we lost contact with them shortly after their data transmission. We later discovered that they were attacked by space pirates on their way back to Federation space. Though the reason for this attack wasn't to simply pillage the vulnerable vessel, the pirates had a target. The PRD had recovered a previously unknown lifeform and stored it on their ship. Later on, we would know this lifeform to be a Metroid, a jellyfish-like organism that can hover in the air and absorb the energy of any lifeform. These pirates planned to use these creatures as a weapon to take over the entire galaxy. To deal with this, we sent over Samus Aran to the space pirate base on planet Zebes. Despite their best efforts, Samus was able to annihilate the stronghold, alone. Though the plans were only briefly thwarted as the pirates returned a year later, conjuring up another Metroid army under their wing. Again, Samus dealt with the threats accordingly. After the Phazon Crisis, however, the Federation grew concerned about these Metroids. The space pirates were adamant on exploiting their capabilities, and so these creatures were indirectly a threat to all of civilization. Another expedition was mounted to SR388. A squad of elite soldiers from the Galactic Federation Police was sent to the planet to investigate. We soon lost contact with the team, but not before they transmitted a small sample of data to headquarters. The data sent from the team confirmed a Metroid presence under the surface of SR388, indicating that this was indeed their world of origin. As long as their existence remained, they would pose a great threat to the galaxy. When presented to the Galactic Federation Council, their decision was immediate and unanimous. Samus Aran was hired to exterminate the Metroids, like lowly rats, once and for all. She was all too happy to oblige. After dealing with them on numerous planets, I would imagine she'd grown sick of them. The majority of this log is based on Samus's experiences within the interior of the planet SR388. Despite her betrayal, her findings are valuable to our studies on the world. I know some scientists that are furious with Samus after she blew it to Kingdom Come. I for one am glad I don't have to deal with those headhuggers. Funnily enough, excuse me for 1 second. Yes, I'm doing the log now. Well, it would be done a lot quicker if it didn't have soldiers knocking on my door every 2 minutes to interrupt the audio. Thank you, at least she understands where I'm at. Alright, have a good day, you two. On behalf of the Federation. I've had to do this log 4 times now because of stuff like that. Goddamn. Screw it, that's staying in. Maybe the board will finally cut the crap. Where was I again? Oh, doesn't matter. Back to SR388 itself. On Samus's journey, she discovered something only found on SR388. Some type of energy called Aeon energy. It poured out of all the life forms on the planet upon their death. The energy shined a bright gold. According to the data sent by the Federation Police, the planet itself seemed to radiate this energy, like it was alive. While this energy was unique to SR388, there were other worlds with a similar property to this energy. The world of Aether houses a similar type of energy that the Luminoth worship, calling that energy the Light of Aether or something. Phase had a similar variant of this energy, though it was far more aggressive, not to mention nearly caused the galaxy's end. Samus also explored the Chozo ruins in SR388. Our team never managed to get that far when it comes to those. Further down in the planet, she came across machines that were still functional and performing maintenance. Albeit they were half working and the caverns were collapsing around them, but I digress. One type of robot was particularly interesting to the science team, Diggernaut. It seemed to disrupt and even hunt Samus down. It was Chozo in design and incredibly efficient in digging through the earth of SR388. Though as usual, she was able to defeat it when it stood in her way. The only things that put up any sort of a fight were the Metroids themselves. Samus had gotten used to fighting them by now, but on their homeworld, they acted differently. They evolved and changed, becoming stronger and more intelligent with every subsequent transformation. The ones we'd all gotten so used to were just the babies of these monsters. Metroids were the top predators of this planet for a reason, and Samus did struggle to fight them from time to time as their core weakness to the cold was largely neutralized. Samus slowly managed to take them out one at a time, needing their DNA to unlock Chozo gates that held up a purple acid to prevent anyone from going deeper into the planet. Samus had to open several to complete her mission. As fascinating and terrifying as the Metroids are, I will document them another time. This log is already long enough and there is a lot more to go through. Samus steadily cleared SR388 of all the Metroids populating the planet. She had explored magma-filled chasms, a Chozo laboratory that her guys think a link to the Metroids themselves, and eventually, the nest where the Metroids come from. Samus encountered the Queen and defeated her single-handedly. After that, she encountered an infant Metroid that hatched from its egg as soon as Samus approached. She went to fire at it, but then she spared it for no reason. We believe this is where her traitorous thoughts stemmed from, but moving on. Samus left the planet with the infant Metroid and flew off to the Ceres space station where she delivered the infant, albeit hesitantly. The rest of the data was donated by the Federation as classified, but all I know that happened next is that Ceres had self-destructed and Zebes, which was nearby, was blown up by Samus. Her report says there was a space pirate base down on the planet, and its self-destruction caused the whole planet to go into meltdown, sending the base and all the Metroids there with it as space debris. After that, the Metroid species was declared extinct. We were told that the galaxy was at peace. The Galactic Federation then constructed a space station out of an asteroid that was in the nearby asteroid belt. This station was made to study the wildlife of the nearby planet for research and peaceful application only. Once completed, ownership of the space station was transferred to the Biologic Space Laboratories to carry out this research. Over the next few years after Zebes' destruction, the BSL were transporting creatures from SR388 to the research station that now orbited the planet to study them. They then called upon Samus for aid to act as an escort down onto the surface of the planet to accompany a research team. They wanted to find out what effect the extinction of the Metroids had on the ecosystem. I, unfortunately, don't have access to Samus's records, though the Federation provided some information. They told me that there was a Hornet that attacked Samus and she was sent to headquarters for treatment. She was able to recover and was asked to go back to the research station to see if everything was okay. Later on, headquarters received word of Samus rampaging throughout the station. There was even footage of her destroying the equipment carelessly. While it's shoddy, it is unmistakably Samus committing these actions. No one else can wear armor like that. Upon discovering what Samus was doing, the Federation sent a small fleet over to try and save the station. Though by the time it got there, both the station and SR388 were completely vaporized. Why Samus would do this is beyond anyone, but our guys believe she had a resentment for the planet. But that's not a good excuse, and we have fleets out looking for her now. A lot of people died on that station. I was told none survived, so there has to be more to it. They would have gone to escape pods or something. Anyway, that's all for this log. Unfortunately, the majority of the records that existed on the planet were destroyed with the BSL station. All we have left to go off of are Samus's records and the data from the previous missions, which didn't send much in the first place. That concludes this log of SR388, date cycle 000802.